Alright, are we back? Yeah, Rage Hunt, how you doing, bro? Doc Savage, how you doing, bro? Alright, it wasn't my internet. My internet remained completely fine. It's again Twitch. So, the stream dropped. I hit stop streaming. I hit start streaming, and it goes, can't access your stream key. Check that your stream key is okay. Transfer, thanks for the first time chat, dude. Really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've been having problems now with Twitch for, like, what is it? A week? More than a week, almost? Where Twitch just fucking drops. And it's like, what the hell? Unforgiven one, how you doing, brother? Yeah, it's just, what the hell is Twitch doing? Why are we going through this? Because, yeah, I genuinely don't know what's going on. I can't tell you guys. The stream literally just drops, and then it will not start the stream again because it says there's no stream key. Like, it can't communicate with the stream key. When I watch Pyromonster's VODs, the stream screws up big time every now and again. Small indie company. Twitch is just falling apart. I've heard that other content creators are struggling with the same thing, where Twitch is just not working for them for some stupid fucking reason. See the streamers? Fuck's sake. You know, I don't want to leave Twitch. I like Twitch. Twitch is fun. But sometimes when I look at the troubles with Twitch, it's just like, Jesus, I don't know. Fedora, how you doing? Deadman Prop, how you doing, bro? Don't want to leave the community. Strum TV, that's exactly why I won't leave. Not right now, anyways. So there is a couple of things that I think YouTube needs to fix. First and foremost, their stance on reaction content. They need to fix that. So, for example, at the moment, we're watching the fall and rise of Final Fantasy. If I did that over streaming on YouTube, I'd most likely get banned or suspended from streaming. They need to fix that. There's no reason to not allow reaction content at all. There's a very big difference to reacting to copyrighted content versus reacting to other YouTubers. Before you go, what's the difference? The difference is other YouTubers shouldn't be completely fucking moronic, right? Because the truth of the matter is, when you react to someone else's content, you are actively helping them. Because your viewers see this guy's content and they go, hey, I like this guy. I think I'll sub to their channel. Or I think I'll go watch the video. Or I think I'll do this. I think I'll do that. You are helping people increase their reach. So reaction content is almost always massive growth for a content creator. For some reason, modern day TV have not figured that out. They have not realized that people reacting to your content is actually not a bad thing. But yeah, I don't know why YouTube is doing that. So YouTube would have to fix that before we could even start discussing moving to YouTube. I mean, there's just... I have, for example, on Twitch, I have people that's been subbed for almost 3 years to the channel. You know, they've been here for so long. We've just hit 10,000 followers. We have 453 subscribers. I don't want to destroy that by moving to YouTube. But when Twitch fucks up the way that it does, there's this part of me that's just going... I also don't like my streams being constantly interrupted because Twitch can't fucking handle their service, you know? Papa Shango, how you doing, bro? Welcome to the stream, brother. So yeah, it's sort of weird, you know? Which worse, YouTube is starting to be an option. Only thing that's worse is chat. Ferorius, thanks for the tier 1 sub, dude. Really appreciate that. 31 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Going down on the ship is never fun. Inception, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't think Twitch will go down. I just think Twitch will slowly but surely go, you know, get worse and worse. The one thing that is true is that YouTube the quality on YouTube is better. YouTube as a service is more reliable. I think the quality is better. Specifically, their transcoding things are much better because they allow for every streamer to have transcoding rather than just partners. And as someone who used to stream from South Africa, believe me, that transcoding really fucking came in necessary. But yeah, can you move YouTube clips to Twitch as easily as Twitch highlights to YouTube? Doc Savage, not really, no. Twitch doesn't really do well with offline content. Arkiel, how you doing, brother? Like, how many people actually watch offline content on Twitch? I don't think very many. You're not in South Africa anymore? Didn't think I was away that long. Oh, Gransford. No, I'm in South Africa still. I just mean before I made partner. So before I made partner as a South African streamer, it was fucking rough. Clips, maybe. Like, I've always thought that Twitch should do a lot more work with their clips, even though they don't, but they should. But yeah, Twitch is not really known for their offline content. It's very rare that you will get someone on Twitch to actually care about offline content. If we look at my channel right now, yeah, we look at my streams. You'll see that my offline streams, so my VODs, will get, this one had 3,300 views. This one had 1,400 views, 1,900, 600, 600, 500, 3,000, 1,000, 2,000, 900. Dear Peach Tea, thanks for the tier 1 sub, really appreciate that. Welcome to the most degenerate chat on Twitch. You finally pulled that trigger. Really appreciate it, Peach Tea. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I think actually that includes live views. I think actually on Twitch the VODs include live views as well. Sweet Chaos, how you doing, bro? Whereas I think YouTube, the reason Twitch clips do so well on YouTube is literally designed for that, right? People prefer, so streams don't actually do that well on YouTube. Most streamers actually say this. If you have, so the general rule of thumb is you can take a Twitch streamer's viewers and times it by 3. That's how many subs they will have. So if you have 200 viewers, you will most likely have close to 600 subs. Now, you could have months where it's much higher because a lot of people gifted subs or, you know, you had a lot of new subs. But for the most part, that's sort of the equation. That's the average. Is how many viewers you have, times that by 3. That's how many subscribers the Twitch streamer will have. Sweet Chaos, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, on YouTube, that's very different. From everyone that I've spoken to that streams full-time on YouTube, they'll have 800 viewers, but then they'll only have like 100, 150 channel members. It's like, bro, whoa. See, so it's almost the inverse. It's almost the inverse that's happening. Divide by like 4, and then you see the amount of members that they have. Because it's not the culture of YouTube. On Twitch, that's the culture. You watch a streamer enough, you like their content enough, you sub to them. Because that's the sort of transaction that's supposed to take place on Twitch. YouTube viewers, the content has always been free. So the whole paying for content doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And also they don't have gifted subs. They don't really have a lot of community tools. There's a lot more super chats on YouTube than there are bits on Twitch though. That's true. Super chats do very well. My shows, I used to stream literally 1 day a week on YouTube on a Sunday. Show, about 4 hours a night. Yeah? And my shows brought in about $2,000 a month in super chats. On Twitch, I would say it really depends, because this is also an exponential growth thing. If you take a streamer that has 1,000 viewers, they will oftentimes boast with about 1,000, 2,000, sometimes even 3,000 donations a month. Right? So they'll get about $3,000 worth of donations a month. They'll even get a lot of bits. But that only really starts happening when you get to that larger streamer number. And the reason that happens is right now, I can see everyone's chat. If you're writing something in chat, I can see it and I can respond to it. But once you get to 1,000 viewers, once you get to 1,500 viewers, chat can sometimes move much faster than what you can actually get the streamer to see your shit. So people will start literally donating bits or donating money in order to highlight their message to ensure that the streamer sees their message. So really, you know, it is just sort of, it's a weird thing, if you will. I mean, slow mode works up until a point, but when you get to like Asmongold size, slow mode doesn't work. Like you can put it on slow mode, it's still fucking fast, right? Twitch not available on as many platforms though. Had to buy Fire Stick since couldn't watch on my Roku. What's a Roku? Strum, to be fair, I hate their naming convention. YouTube should change the naming convention. That's why we have channel points. Organs, that's true. But, you know, when you have... So I would say actually at 1,000 viewers, so people do start donating more. That's a fact. You can look at all of the numbers, all of the statistics out there. When you have 1,000 viewers, you're gonna get more donations. You're gonna get close to $1,000 of donations at least every month. But when you start getting to... But when you're talking about interaction, I would say streamers are usually fine with interaction up until 10,000 viewers. I think you can still at 10,000 viewers see chat just fine, react to chat just fine, have that sort of relationship, you know, that closer relationship between Twitch and chat and streamer. I think once you go over 10,000, so when you get to like 20,000, 30,000 viewers, this is where it becomes almost impossible. Because at that point, everyone is spamming highlighted messages. You know, everyone is spamming all manner of crap. Look at most of the top streamers. What is their chat? Most of the top streamers, what is their chat? It's emotes. People are spamming emotes. Right? So your message, the chance of your message actually getting through is very, very low. I don't know. Because on YouTube, we've had 3,000 viewers before. And it was fine. It was fine. Yeah, I didn't really struggle at all on YouTube with about 3,000 viewers. It really gets to a problem when the chat is moving so fast that even slow-mo chat is fast. Prior to that, I think you're fine. It's hell to get Asmon's attention. Yeah. you can understand why as well, right? There's hundreds of messages going past these fucking screen every day. So it is obviously going to be a hell of a hard job to get him to see your message. It's tricky because you ask a question and as you answer, there's a couple dozen questions that pass by. Yeah. Yeah. Sad but true. Sad but fucking true. I don't mind though. For now, I'm happy on Twitch. I'm just not happy whenever Twitch fucks up. So whenever Twitch screws up, I'm not that happy. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy on Twitch. Blame him, like, don't blame if you miss mine. Just reposting a highlight. True. You still do the YouTube show on Sundays? Isaac, I don't. No. I've stopped doing the show. I don't have anything to talk about anymore. That might change in the future, but for right now, I have nothing to talk about. I don't have any interest in World of Warcraft, currently at least. And I'm not going to cover something I don't have interest in. I'm just waiting for the ads to finish running, and then we'll talk about the topic for today. So you don't want to discuss Dragon Isles League? I mean, we did discuss it already. You know. I can't say that just to be clear, I'm not saying that I'm done with WoW forever. I've never said that. From the very beginning, I said for now, I'm done with WoW. I might be back playing WoW or talking about WoW in the future if Blizzard sorts out their shit. But right now, there's no point in me playing World of Warcraft. There's no point in me covering World of Warcraft because I don't even understand what's going on. I don't like where the story is going. They've basically destroyed the Titan lore. No, the Titan lore used to be gods. They used to be very powerful creatures, and as it turns out, they're not even really unique creatures. You know, they're just 3D printed creatures, and if one dies, you may as well just make a fuck another one. Because they're basically just 3D printed. That really takes away from what made them special in the first place, the mystery that revolved around them. And I think the biggest mistake that Blizzard made was Shadowlands. And not because Shadowlands is a bad expansion, I think because you never allow your viewer to see behind the curtain. I think that's the biggest mistake you can make. Because now that we have seen the other side, we realize that death really isn't a problem. It takes away the sadness of death. It removes the sort of finality of death. And it just sort of makes it so that if they die, I just travel to the Shadowlands and go say hello. You know? They're still there. It's not like they're going anywhere. They just live in a different place now. Josh, I wouldn't take breaks from Final Fantasy. At least not specifically breaks. I don't know much about WoW. Heard its lore changes every time. Do you think they'll have a main storyline in the future? So, Dear Peachty, the way to describe the difference between the story of World of Warcraft and the story of Final Fantasy is actually a very interesting one. Now, for this discussion, to answer your question, I first have to explain something. The way World of Warcraft used to be versus the way World of Warcraft is now muddies the water a little bit. So I'm going to talk about what World of Warcraft was set up to be, not what World of Warcraft is sort of now trying to pretend to be. Because what World of Warcraft is trying to pretend to be right now is really a spit in the face of what it used to be. Now, when you look at Final Fantasy, and I'm assuming that most people in chat is Final Fantasy players. But when you look at Final Fantasy is designed as a story or a narrative-driven story game, where the narrative starts at level 1 and now, we know, plays itself out until Endwalker. So there is a story that is planned piece by piece from beginning to end. In Endwalker, that entire story, that chapter, ends itself, right? And we're now going to get a new story, and that's going to be interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see where the developers of Final Fantasy wish to take this new Eorzean story. Now, we know, most likely, the story is going to continue to be on Eorzea. We know that there's probably going to be new lands and new places introduced to the game, but Eorzea and its story will always be there. It will always be part of the history of the game. But it has ended. So Final Fantasy plays far more like a book or a movie or a television series where the story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. World of Warcraft was never actually meant to be that. This is what most people don't understand. World of Warcraft was never actually meant to be a narrative-driven story game. The creator, the literal guy who created the World of Warcraft story, Chris Metzen, is a D&D fanatic. What World of Warcraft was always meant to be was a one-shot within a D&D-esque universe. So what World of Warcraft was Azeroth and the world, the great beyond, that Azeroth is a planet within it. And then you have these gods, these titans, and you have all of these different cosmological forces that make up this entire ecosystem. And there's stories with the gods, the titans, and there's stories with the dragons, and there's things that happen over here and things that happen over here, and there's sort of things everywhere. But every single expansion within the World of Warcraft story was built to be a D&D one-shot. It's meant to be a story that really takes place within that expansion. it doesn't really flow over into any of the other expansions. There's loose links because obviously it would be very weird to tell a story that doesn't link to the whole world, but the story really doesn't flow. If you look at Classic, World of Warcraft Classic had nothing to do with TBC. TBC was an entirely different game to what Classic was and what the story for Classic was. It doesn't mean that there weren't elements of TBC and hints and sort of Easter eggs of what the next expansion is going to be and where it's going to flow to, right? But the expansion was built to be Outland, its own little thing. It exists in its bubble. Then you come back from TBC, and now you go into Wrath. And Wrath itself, whilst having some links to TBC, because Illidan and the demons had some role to play in the creation of the Lich King, the Lich King story really is its own story. So it was really designed to be this one-shot with loose links to other things, but never designed to be a full narrative-driven story that plays expansion to expansion. The problem is that at some point, Blizzard decided, you know what, we want to do more narrative stuff. Now, there's an issue if you say, I want to do more narrative stuff, so I want to build on expansions by expansions. You can't just decide that in the middle of the game. You can't have one-shots leading up to Legion, and then in Legion you go, now we're going to have a narrative-driven story. None of the other stories were set up to be narrative-driven, so how the fuck are you going to make these things make sense? So this is why you now see these loosely defined shit, like, oh, the jailer planned this all along. It's like, no, he didn't. He was never meant to plan all of this all along because it doesn't make sense. It destroys so much of the old story when you say that. You can't just come up and say, oh, he did plan all of this. No, he didn't. You could try and sell it to me, but it doesn't make sense. So he didn't do it. He didn't plan it. Stop trying to pretend that he did. Now they really want to pretend that he did because they want to end the story. And I do think the future of WoW, I think 10.0, is going to be what Denuser wanted from World of Warcraft in the first place. It is most likely going to be a narrative-driven story. Denuser is probably now going to write the actual chapters in the book that he wanted in the first place. Will that work for the player base? I don't know. Because there's pros and cons to having narrative-driven stories. There's pros and cons to having one-shots. A one-shot provides you with a lot more freedom to do whatever the fuck you want. It also provides you with a lot more room for retconning, because it is ultimately just a one-shot. You can retcon stuff, and yes, players will sort of be like, can't believe you fucking retcon my shit, but people will accept it because, you know, it doesn't really matter. Nico, by the way, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Really appreciate that. 7 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But overall, that is the main differences between Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft. To explain World of Warcraft lore to someone will take much longer than a single stream, because its lore is really fragmented and broken, like you would expect a one-shot to be. There's a lot of lore, and not all of it is well explained, because not all of it has ever been visited in the story. Every single expansion forgets very important characters that could absolutely have played a massive role in said expansion, because every expansion is built to be its own sort of thing. And it's weird to me that Steve Denuser didn't just end this expansion the way it began and then move on, you know, finish the current story and then move on to your big narrative-driven, this is just chapters in a book kind of thing. Because you change the rules halfway through. It's literally the equivalent of me inviting all of you to a one-shot. You get to the one-shot, and at the end of the one-shot, I change it and say, no, this is actually not a one-shot. We're continuing next week. it makes it very difficult, right? Because a one-shot is built on very specific rules. You don't start at level 1. Usually with one-shot, you'll start at level 5, level 6, level 9. So you're starting close to max level. One-shots are also designed to have very linear storylines that just end. Now I'm saying, no, we're continuing next week with this exact same story. It's like, well, I didn't sign up for that. Because if I want to play a fucking full story, I want to start at level 1. And I want to level my character, and I want to be able to make choices, and I want to be able to change things. You're changing the rules mid-level here. So that's sort of the thing. Can't turn a one-shot into a big campaign? You can, but you have to be careful, Agriel. The point isn't that you can't do that. The point is that you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful when you try to turn a one-shot. And what we're not actually talking about here isn't a single one-shot. I should actually say, imagine if we did 9 different one-shots over the course of 9 weeks. And then suddenly I come up to you and I say, you know what, guys? Screw it. This is actually not one-shots. This is just a single big campaign. But every single one of the 9 one-shots had nothing to do with each other. They were literally one-shots, and I just woke up and decided now I want to make it one single story. That's very difficult. You have to be very careful with how you're going to link those together, because you never wrote them in the first place to be linked together. You wrote them to be one-shots. If you want to merge them now, you're probably going to end up having to retcon a couple of things. You're probably going to end up having to drop a bunch of things from the story. And that really is the problem. And I don't think Blizzard and Steve Denuser had enough respect for the story to be that careful when they did it. They just sort of woke up one day and went, yeah, Zuval is to blame for all of this shit. And the player base is left reeling, going, how? It doesn't make sense. Talk about how evil Ian is. I have nothing to say about Ian. I don't know. I genuinely don't know, bro. Good morning, Akko. First time tuning in for a bit. I'm still on patch content in Evansward, so avoiding spoilers like a boss. Nico, how you doing? You get split soul stuff and Zeroth Mortis. True. The stories are tied together with scotch tape and chewed bubblegum. It feels like it. It actually fucking feels like it. Let's see what happens in the next expansion. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and I'm okay with that. It might be that Steve Denuser turns out to be one of the greatest writers in the history of gaming. You know, he comes up with the next expansion, and now that he can actually write the story from start to finish the way that he wanted to write it, it turns out that it's actually fucking brilliant. You know, and it takes care of everything, and it does just the perfect story. I'd be surprised, but I would admit that I was wrong. I'd be surprised, though. I don't think I am wrong. I don't think Steve Denuser has any talent. I think the dude barely knows what the fuck he's doing. Is the best writer? You got jokes now? Massey, how you doing, bro? Striker, how you doing? I know you have probably covered already, but what do you think about the MS takeover of ActiBliss? And do you think this can shape up a great future for the devs in Blizz? Striker, so yes, I have covered it. I've covered it twice. Once on the Clips channel, once on the main channel. But I do have some thoughts. I have not really spoken about my thoughts on this. I wanted to sort of wait with my thoughts on the Microsoft merger or the Microsoft takeover of ActiBliss until such time that I had I had a night to sleep on it, and I could sort of put into perspective all of my thoughts. Now, in saying that, if you look on your screen right now, this is currently all of the gaming companies that Microsoft own. Now, if the Activision Blizzard... Now, there's also some things that I'm sort of very interested in. Because this will have to, at this point at least from what I can tell, this will have to pass legislation still. I don't know if it's passed legislation yet. There's still the shareholders from both companies that have to vote on this, and then most likely they're going to have to go to the government, and the government is going to have to okay this. Depending on where all of these companies are based and how many countries are involved, it might be that they need permission from more companies or more countries than just the US. I don't know if any of these would be based in the EU, because I do know the EU is pretty heavy on their anti-competition laws. So there might still be some legislative issues that they have to face in order to finish this. Now, let's talk about the first thing, the first real sort of elephant in the room here. Monopoly. Monopoly, I think most people know, is bad. Most people believe that it is bad. Now, I don't necessarily share that view 100%. Monopolies in and of themselves is not automatically just bad. Monopolies really only get bad when the government protects the monopoly. So when you have government-protected monopolies, in other words, the government blocks any other competitors from actually partaking within the market, that's where monopolies get really, really fucking bad. Back in the early 1900s, late 1800s, I believe it was Rockefeller, I could be wrong. It was one of these very rich American families, but they had a complete monopoly on oil. Complete monopoly on oil. Every single year, oil got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Every single year, the service that they provided to customers got better and better and better. Why is that? They had a monopoly. They didn't have to do that. But why did they do that? Because their monopoly was not government protected. Their monopoly was 100% created because they were first to the market and their service was pretty good. So they were always aware that another company could enter the market and knock them off their pedestal. So that's really the thing. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that that's the only problem. You do absolutely get monopolies where the people involved are scumbags and will just do scumbag things. That's true. When it comes to gaming, though, I feel like it's a very weird stance on being scared of monopolies, because technically speaking, every gaming company in the world has a monopoly. There is no other company in the world that is allowed to make World of Warcraft. There is no other gaming company in the world that is allowed to make Call of Duty. So technically speaking, Blizzard has a monopoly on World of Warcraft. Technically speaking, Activision has a monopoly on Call of Duty. No one else can make those games. No one else can step in and make it. Now, they can make similar games, so that sort of destroys the narrative. But at the end of the day, they can't copy Call of Duty one for one and just say this is Call of Duty. It's not like butter. If you go into the store and you buy butter, there's basically 50 copies of exactly the same butter. It just has a different label on it. No one else can do that. Microsoft would sue, or Activision at this point, would sue the living fuck out of you if you copied Call of Duty literally one for one and just slapped a different label on it. You can't do that. You would have to change the game in such a way that you most likely won't get all the Call of Duty players to play your game because, well, it's not Call of Duty. They want to play Call of Duty. So technically speaking, in gaming, when it comes to art, really, I think monopolies is sort of a weird stance. It's very difficult to say this is a monopoly because at the end of the day, it is still art. So I'm not too worried about the monopoly argument, at least not right now, because it's not as if Microsoft owns everything yet, you know, and it's not as if Microsoft is that big that it doesn't have competitors within the market. There are absolutely companies that can compete. You know, Valve is one of them, even though not necessarily as big. I don't see Valve ever selling to Microsoft. I think Steam makes more than enough money. I mean, Valve even refuses to go public because they like controlling everything that they have. Sony, Tencent, NetEase, these are all companies that can absolutely compete with Microsoft. So even if all of those companies gobbled up all of the remaining the remaining developers out there, that still leaves about 5 or 6 competitors in the market that is going to go at it. You know, they're going to fight each other for market share. The other thing that I saw that a lot of people complained about, especially on Twitter, my Twitter have been absolutely filled with people complaining about the developers. People have gone, oh my god, it's so fucking disgusting that players are so excited and happy about this, even not thinking about the small developers that or the junior developers that are going to lose their jobs. And I think to myself, you're a fucking moron is what you are. Anyone who's tweeting that shit is a moron. They're literally trying to brown nose themselves into the developers, I don't know what, good graces. Look at history. History is often a very good teacher. I'm not saying that it can't happen. But if history have shown us anything, Microsoft did not walk into a single developer that it picked up and fired anyone. All of the developers, Obsidian Gaming, actually hired more developers after they were picked up. Ninja Theory hired more developers after they were picked up. Trying to see here. In Exile hired more developers after they were picked up. Bethesda hired more developers after they were picked up. So in every single case where Microsoft have acquired a new studio, they haven't stepped in and basically forced that studio to fire a bunch of developers or massively restructure their development processes. They don't do that, right? And so I don't see why people are afraid. Now, Microsoft will absolutely most likely get rid of the people that is implicated in the lawsuits. But we would all hope that Microsoft gets rid of the people that's been implicated in the lawsuits. The other thing is, let's imagine worst case scenario. Microsoft steps in and they basically force Activision Blizzard to get rid of 60% of their developers. What reasons could you think of that would compel Microsoft to actually do that? What reasons could you think of that would compel Microsoft to do that? Massey, not cost cutting, no. Because that would be cost cutting at the expense of your own product. The reason Microsoft would do that is if efficiency has become a problem because of overemployment, which is actually a fucking thing. When companies start employing too many people, efficiency oftentimes goes down because you have too many cooks in the kitchen. You have 500 developers working on games where 300 would have been enough. So now you end up with a bunch of developers wasting time running around not being sure what the fuck to do. So Microsoft could absolutely step in and say, hold on, you need to get rid of about 60% of your workforce because your efficiency is just fucking shite. You're not actually getting anything out. It's far too big. It's almost impossible to get shit done. At the end of the day, as sad as that is for the developers, the gamers win because efficiency goes up. We get more games and we probably end up getting better games. I don't think anyone is sitting looking at Blizzard right now and thinking to themselves that there aren't some developers that needs to be fired there. If you look at the state of Activision Blizzard right now, you look at the state of the games that's coming out of those companies, is there anyone that can absolutely sit here and tell me that all of those developers deserve a job within the gaming industry? Overwatch 2, just been delayed. Diablo 4, delayed again. I mean, and prior to that, it's been almost a decade since we've last had a fucking game from Activision Blizzard, right? World of Warcraft, in the shitter. So there's absolutely a case to be made here that some developers will be fired, but Microsoft didn't get to where they are right now. And to be fair, I don't trust Microsoft for shit. I haven't even gotten to my feelings about this. I'm just discussing sort of the misnomers and the sort of wrong beliefs on this topic. We'll get to my feelings in a bit about this. But Microsoft didn't get to where it needs to be and where it is today by being inefficient, by firing people that's actually doing their fucking jobs. Microsoft got to where they are right now because they know exactly who's doing their jobs, who isn't. They will look at people's work performances and they'll say, right, you have done absolutely fuck all in the time that you've been with Blizzard. You leave, right? You've done your job. There's a couple of developers I can think of off the top of my fucking head on Twitter that should be let go immediately. But I won't name names because I don't want to get into a fist fight here with anyone. But okay. So I think a lot of people are sort of fear-mongering. A lot of people are sort of farming those clicks because of fear. So that's all fine. I think a lot of it is just bollocks. Now, what do I think of the acquisition of Microsoft with Activision Blizzard? I'm worried for the future, specifically when I hear words like the metaverse. and I hear words like bringing people together to single platforms, I'm worried about that, because at some point we have to start asking ourselves, why are all of you, like all of these massive corporations, why are they so interested in building these one-stop shop metaverses that sort of force people into these VR worlds? And if you listen to Mike Zuckerberg talk about their metaverse, it sounds very fucking dystopian, as if people are never going to meet IRL anymore. Everyone's just going to meet in the fucking cloud somewhere and have discussions and business meetings and shit. And you do sort of think to yourself, do I want companies to have that much power? Is that something I want? Because I don't know if I want that. I don't think I feel comfortable with companies having that much power. In the short term, though, I think this is fine. I think we're going to get much better games. Microsoft have proven themselves with every one of the game companies that they've taken over, and that they've acquired. They've proven themselves to be more than capable of letting those companies make the best games possible. So I'm excited for it, and I think in the short term it's going to be good. In the long term, there's definitely some things to worry about. You know, when companies become so large that they can basically throw their dick around and upset the whole market, that is a problem. That is definitely something we should be worried about. But that's long-term stuff that I don't know if we can fix it until we see it. Because it might turn out that nothing goes wrong and everything's just peachy. I don't know. But yeah, there's definitely things to be afraid of, but I think a lot of people are afraid for the wrong reasons. You should be afraid of the long-term implications of this, not the short-term. Short-term, I think nothing's going to change for the worse. I think a lot of things are going to change for the better. Microsoft just wants good games, and they've proven themselves with the companies that they take over, that they allow those companies to really make good games. So yeah, that's sort of my thoughts on this entire matter. That's where I am right now. I'm cautiously optimistic, and then also afraid for the long term. But I would like to know what you guys think in chat. What's your view on this? Since Blizzard employees will be fired when Microsoft takes over, who you think the ones should go the most? Do you think it should be Ian and Steve Denuser? Well, first of all, you can't say since Blizzard employees will be fired, because that assumes that Blizzard employees will be fired, and there's no evidence of that. As I just explained, Microsoft didn't do that to any of the other companies that they acquired, so why would they do that to Blizzard? With that said, though, yeah, I do think that someone like Ian has to go, someone like Steve Denuser has to go. I think that you would need to do a cost-benefit analysis. I think you would need to do a deep dive analysis of every single one of the games at Activision Blizzard and look at exactly who is to blame for the failures of those companies, of those IPs. And if it is found that it is someone like Ian, that it is someone like Steve Denuser, then they have to go. But there's no obvious... it's not obviously true to me that Ian is to blame for this. Or that Steve Denuser is to blame for this, to be fair. Here's what most of us, I think, don't know, and we can't know this. I don't even know this. We don't know just how badly or to what extent the bad practices of Activision, so the work environment, the business environment, the checkboxes that came from the suits in the ivory towers, how much that influenced the developers. There's no way of knowing that. It could very easily be that
the only guarantee is that Bobby Kotick will step down as CEO once the transaction is done. After that, is anyone's game. And I don't think they'll remove Ion and Denuser, at least for the first few years with WoW at the hands of Microsoft.
Maybe. That could be true. Mighty Rana, thanks for the 25 bits. I'd really appreciate that. Yeah, I think... I can't remember what I was saying. What were we talking about? What employee will we fire? And his name starts with a B. Bobby Kotick will not be fired. It's already been announced that he is stepping down. He's getting a nice little golden parachute, and then he is stepping down as the CEO of Activision Blizzard, and he's doing that literally in 2023. So Phil Spencer even tweeted out, I believe, that Bobby Kotick's job is safe until 2023. That's the deal that they made. So yeah. Bobby Kotick's conviction to be the most welcoming, inclusive workplace doesn't really appreciate how important it is to him. Just saying. Netrex, I agree. He did say that. So, and Bobby is nothing if not honest looking. When you look at Bobby's face, you trust that man. You would vote for him if he ran for president, right? He just looks like a really honest guy to me. So when he said, anyone who doubts my commitment to being the most inclusive workplace, I 100% believed him. I was like, yeah, he's not lying. There's no lie in this man's life. His entire empire is built on a throne of truth. He is just a man of the people, really. I have a lot of respect for Mr. Bobby Kotick. I think it's only the haters, really, that don't like him. The people who wish that they were billionaires too, and they're just jealous of his money and all the yachts and stuff that he has. But in reality, if you think about Bobby and all the yachts and stuff that he's just a man of the people. He knows that there's people that need to work on those yachts, and they have families too to support. So when he buys a new yacht, he is doing it because he wants to create jobs and shit. So really, I think people are just overestimating or underestimating this man.
Games are not really being at fault of the state of WoW and the atmosphere of Blizzard interfering with the quality of the product.
Oh yeah, that's very good. Yeah, Epstein as well, absolute legend. 100% support that man. He did nothing wrong. If you're not spotting the sarcasm here, you're a fucking moron. But Mighty Brandon, thank you very much for reminding me. Really appreciate that, bro. So yeah, when it comes to there's so much that we don't know, and I'll put it to you like this: imagine at your workplace, your bosses had all sorts of unimaginably unrealistic expectations of you for things that you had to do. And, breast milk was being stolen and people were grabbing your ass without your permission. And people were making weird and snide comments about threesomes and crap. Imagine you were working in a hellhole, right? Where half of the people there, especially the top half, is playing games. They're not actually doing their jobs. They're not actually efficient. You have to wait weeks for answers on things that needs to be done because they're basically just there to get a paycheck. How much would you actually be able to get done? Like, how much work would you actually be able to get done? Yeah, of course. Bobby Kotick is committed to inclusivity. That's why the new clause in Activision Blizzard's TOS will be, if you grabbed a woman's ass this day, you must grab a man's ass tomorrow. And if it's 2 women, it's 2 men. Always the same. Right? That's the new policy at Activision Blizzard. I, for one, applaud that. I think that's very forward-thinking. Let's assault everyone equally. So yeah, I'm 100% on board with that. In fact, I think it was actually my idea. I emailed him and I said, I think I can fix your company. You need to make it equal offense, like equal offenders. Everyone should be offended equally. That way, no one's offended, or everyone's offended, but everyone's offended together. So really, they're not that offended. It also states that you must present your ass for grabbing at the water cooler. Everyone, every gender. That's true too. That was him actually. He emailed me and he added that into the clause, and I was like, oh my god, good catch. That's exactly it. I want to work at ActiveBliss now. Somebody will clip that and Twitter will go insane. They can fucking clip it if they want. They're morons if they don't know this is sarcasm. Yeah. At the end of the day, I don't think you get much done when your company is a hellhole, right? But I also think you don't get much done when half of your developers just scream at players and hate the player base. I know, call me crazy. Call me fucking crazy, but I don't think you get much done when half of your developers hate gamers. And that's me being fucking generous. I think it's more than half. And for those of you that don't know, just follow a couple of developers from Blizzard over on Twitter. See how they speak about the player base. You'll be fucking surprised. Assholes, how is that possible? I don't know, really. I mean, they do it, but they do it so eloquently. It's just so fucking eloquent. It's almost as if you don't want to get angry. Alright, Alex, I'm seeing the videos that you uploaded. Called Asshole 2. What the fuck did he expect to happen? Yeah, to be fair, they're all... The developers hate the player base. It's as simple as that. It really is as simple as that. So, do we like this thumbnail? Quick question. Do we like this thumbnail? Who's the other person in here, Alex? I don't know who this other person is. I don't know who that is. Random Andy from a royalty-free site? Oh, right. Your Stola looks so fucking hot there. About to climax to your Stola. Hey, I would climax to your Stola. Look how hot she is. Yeah, I like it. No, wait, I'm already downloading this. What the fuck am I doing? I just need to download this. Don't mommy your Stola. Oh my god, you guys with your fucking mommy your Stola. Do you think your Stola likes being called mommy? You never even asked. What if your Stola is actually sub? What if your Stola isn't actually dom? What if in bed your Stola actually likes to be sub? Methinks Akko isn't far from owning a body pillow. As long as it's a Monfilia body pillow, I approve. Jelly Bob, how you doing, brother? Bad Taylors, by the way, Akko. You're wrong. Too bold. It's okay to be wrong. I will judge you, but I'll do so silently. It's not an issue. Wow, the fact that you guys are making faces when I ask that means that I'm eventually going to see just how fucking dumb your Stola can be. Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. 10 subs for Aestir Matoya. Bro. I doubt it. I fucking very highly doubt that I would view Yestola, not Yestola, Matoya as Aestir. Matoya is ugly as fuck, and you want to tell me I'm going to view her as Aestir? I think you're wrong. He doesn't know. Tattoo body pillow? Opus man, I would be judging you if you did that. Streamer doesn't know. No spoilers, chat. Yeah, don't fucking spoil it, but I think you guys are wrong. So, the fall and rise of Final Fantasy XIV Episode 1. Akalon reacts to Fall and Rise of Final Fantasy. Let's just do EP1. What's it called again? Can't remember. Need to go look first. Need to go on a bit of an exploration mission here. Here we go. Okay, what's this first one called? Don't do that. What's the first one called? It's called A World is Born. Alright. Accolon reacts to Fallen Rise of Final Fantasy XIV. A World is Born. Yeah, I think that's good. Accolon watches episode 1 of the Fall and Rise of Final Fantasy 14. Okay, there we go. Has that made any good Bunny Boys PCs yet? No. No, I have not. In fact, I don't know if I've seen a single Bunny Boy yet. But then again, I've been sort of out... Final Fantasy 14 by Speakers Network. There we go. Alright, I think that's fine. Accolon reacts to Fallen Rise of Final Fantasy 14. A World is Born. Blasphemous Crow, thanks for the 2 months up, dude. Really appreciate that. 6 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All hail Microsoft, saviors of the WoW nerds. Did you guys see the shit on Twitter where everyone is now tagging Bill Gates and asking him World of Warcraft questions? That's just funny as crap. Bill Gates most likely doesn't have a fucking clue what's going on with Microsoft anymore, and now he's just getting a bunch of people asking him questions he doesn't know. Doesn't pay much attention to other players? Yeah, I barely ever look at other players, to be fair. Till you've seen a beefy bunny boy in a shirtless top? I think I can live without that, Josh. To be honest. I think I can live without that. Right, let's reuse some details here. We'll reuse these details, I think. Final Fantasy. Reuse. Alright, now I have to remove that, remove that. Remove that. Eclipse is fine, I suppose. Final Fantasy Endwalker. Fashionista can be removed, that can be removed, that can be removed, that can be removed, that can be removed. And then Speakers Network's the other one, right? Speakers Network. There we go. Oh, I see. You're a bunny maid enjoyer instead. Hey, bunny girls are quite hot, yeah. I think Akka would love to see my Lala Warrior. Trackheads, see in what way? Do you think I would find your Lala Warrior hot? Because I think you'd be wrong. Scary. I would find a potato scary. No. No. The potatoes aren't scary. They're just silly. There's no way anyone looks at a potato person and gets scared at the warrior inside of them. In real life, if you were to fight a Lalafell, you would beat the living shit out of them. You would literally... You don't even have to fight them. You just kick them. Just fucking whack. Gone. Thanks for playing, Mr. Potato Person. Although I must say, the most ridiculous warriors in the game are the... what are they called again? The Moogles. The Moogles must be the most ridiculous warriors in the game. Like, you see a Moogle, there's no way you're fighting it. Like, just no way. Why the fuck would you fight something so cute and fluffy? You'd want to take it home and just have it as a pet? You know? Um, Potatoes are the perfect height to use your nuts like a speed back. Jesus. Oh my god. Got a Moogle weapon on my Ashflosian. My turn. I don't know what they're called. I just call them the Moogles. Because it's Great King Mooglemog. So I don't know what are the little ones called. Von Crusher, thanks for the follow, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You gotta get someone to craft Aqua Moogle weapon. Take it home and bury it in the backyard. I mean, keep it safe and sound. Wait, why would you kill the Moogles? You never kill a Moogle. Those things are so cute. They would make the cutest pets on Earth. And you want to kill them. Why? Moogle warriors? Yeah. Have you never seen the Moogle warriors? They have these little shields and swords and helmets. They look cute as fuck with their little battle gear, I guess you should call it. They don't look like they want to fight you. They just look cute. I don't know how they would fight you, to be fair. I know there's a fight, Great King Mooglemog, but that fight is ridiculous. In every single way, that fight is fucking ridiculous. So I'd be well surprised if they could mount any sort of real combat threat, if you will. Wait, is that a paladin? Might be a paladin. But yeah, you have Moogle paladins, you have Moogle black mages in that one fight. There's the Moogle paladins as well. The Moogle black mages, Moogle white mages. What else is there for Moogles? Warriors with the axe. Yeah. So there were warriors in there. I think those were the ones who fucking stomped me. Like, they did a lot of fucking damage if they got close to you. It may have been the warriors. But isn't a warrior also a tank? Warrior is a tank. I just don't understand how a warrior can be a tank with just an axe. But Falcleaves? To be fair, though, I'm so happy with my Black Mage. I don't need anything else. I would definitely not play anything else. Again and again and again and again and again. It's in the story. What's in the story, Zcon? I just always, it's weird to me. Even the Dark Knight stuff is very weird to me. Because they only have this big, massive sword, and I don't see how that's really tanking. Tanks are just a sword? Yeah, but it's just weird, because you're a tank, you're supposed to have tank weapons. You're supposed to be a tank. I still have to roll a Raid Mage, but we're not going to re-roll now. We'll most likely... I'll think about re-rolling when we get to max level. Maybe then I'll start doing other jobs as well.
Warrior, by concept, is the kind of tank that take the full damage and says give me more. I can take it. Come at me.
So basically they're masochists. Fine, it starts at level 50. But I'm already at level 60. I can't go I can't go Raid Mage now. DRK is a masochist. DRK Story is the same writer for Shadowbringers and Endwalker as a heads up. I've heard that. What did you eat for breakfast? Benroll, how you doing, bro? Nothing. I don't eat breakfast. I will eat my first meal at the end of stream. Find out about jobs in FF made by Larry Zord. I can link it to you. Yeah. Agril, of course. You can just link it to me on Discord. Active Blizzard, how you doing, bro? Zeno, thanks for the first time chat, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lalas are little people. Any hate about Lalas is racism against little people. But what would a fat piece of flesh understand about that? Are you contradicting yourself? Maybe a little there? You genuinely can't be racist towards little people. I mean, literally in the fucking name. Because little people isn't a race. But I actually think you're a bit racist there. Because you seem to think that little people are a race. Or is that just stupidity, Zeno? If you're just making jokes, no problem. I don't mind. If you're trying to be serious, I'd say take your outrage and fuck off. Because I genuinely don't care. You're in the wrong place, bro. Don't be sensitive here. Might like faster-paced jobs? No. I like the Black Mage, and that's not fast-paced at all. A really wasteful thing. Why should anyone use them? Act Blizzard because it highlights stuff. And there are games where you can actually use the channel points. So, for example, when we played D&D on stream, people could use the channel points to actually redeem actions within the D&D game. It's not helpful for all games, but there are games in which the channel points can actually be put to good use. So we have used them in the past. Miku, how you doing? Go racist against real-life Lalafal, confirmed. True. Those real-life Lalafal should go fuck themselves. This message will half make Akko respond. No, I respond to most fucking Ask Me Anythings. What are you talking about? I just find that so fucking strange. Someone would actually think, like, was that real? Was that Zeno dude for real? Do you guys think that was an actual fucking message? Like, he genuinely believes that? I can't think that anyone is that stupid. Like, to be honest, I don't think anyone is that stupid. I think that has to be a troll. Grinding Gear just posted a new video about them starting Heavensward. First time turning into the streams, but really have enjoyed the YouTube vids. Crimson, thanks for the first time chat, dude. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Very happy to have you here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Be surprised how stupid people can be? It has to be a troll, right? No one is that fucking stupid. Oh, you're mean to Lalas? That means you must hate all little people in real life. How, though? He's not in chat anymore, so probably someone wanted to rally you up. If he's not in chat anymore, then he was being for real there. Then he was absolutely being for real there. And then all I can say to him is, bro, you need to fucking wake up. Go outside and touch some grass, bro. You live way too deep in the Twitterverse. You get offended by shit that really shouldn't offend people. Fucking grow up. God, I hate people that get offended. I have lived on this planet for more than 3 decades. And I don't know what offended feels like. I don't know. Like, I don't know what someone would have to say to me in order to make me feel offended by it. Like, you could say something and I could think, wow, that's a stupid fucking thing to say. But offended? Like, offended? I don't know what that is. Because I think for me, it has to do with, I refuse to give anyone enough power over me. And if you're gonna get angry at what someone else says to you, you've given them power over you. Can you ask questions like that after being on Twitter? Because Twitter doesn't offend me. The people on Twitter are just stupid. And it's funny, because they're stupid. But they don't offend me. Love running around on my alt Lala to annoy my FC mate. My FC bashes me for playing Lala, so I use Lala power to torment them as revenge. I like you defended the little people, yet called you a fat piece of flesh. That's exactly it, right? The dude literally fucking comes in here, wants to defend little people, and then to use his word, not mine, but to use his word most likely, then immediately resorts to fat phobia, even though I think it's absolutely okay to say to fat people that they're fat. Someone has to motivate us to get off our asses and actually exercise. I don't believe in the whole fat phobia bullshit. That would literally mean that there are people that's afraid of fat people. No one's afraid of a fat person. Anyone and everyone can outrun a fat guy. No need to be afraid of them. You should be afraid of people that can literally run faster than you, because they can catch you and fuck you up. You run around a bit with a fat guy. He's out of breath. He's tired. He's just gonna lie down. Nothing to be afraid of there. There is a Final Fantasy mod that turns everyone into lalas. Why would anyone have that mod? Lalafell voice types are all high-pitched and annoying, so you can spam the laughing and cheer emotes to annoy the hell out of people. Well, the NPC Lalafell's voices aren't all like deep and like high-pitched. Bad cardio, some can and will catch you. I'm yet to see that. I can't catch shit. A true fat guy, like a proper fat guy, Alex. Will he fuck? Will he fuck? I highly doubt that. But no, I just think people need to be less fucking sensitive, dude.
Have you heard Yu Haas's JP voice acting? Trust me, it is worth it.
I did hear it, yes. I did hear it, yes. That's because you're a lazy streamer? Wow, fucking shots fired. Shots fired? Hitting me with that disgusting fat phobia of yours, Alex? I can't believe it. I can't believe it, you bastard. Shame on you. The chat is so chill and savage. I love it. I love my chat too. Even though it scares off new people, I definitely like it. It's room privilege to be shot at in chat. I could definitely fucks. Well, yeah. Not often, but I do. Chat is the best man. I agree with that. Racist towards fat people. I can be. I am fat myself. I can say fuck all fat people. Look at me. I'm allowed to make fun of myself. No, I don't. I don't subscribe to being offended. Because I think when you are offended, it's your weakness showing. Like, genuinely speak. I genuinely think people use this, oh my god, I'm so offended by this, as if it's some kind of strength. But to me, it's not a strength, it's a weakness. You're literally saying I am a weak piece of shit. I can't handle the stresses of life. Why would you want to admit that? Yeah, the worst is people who's offended on behalf of someone else. It's like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You being offended on someone else's behalf. No one asked you. Sit the fuck down. Sit down. Shut the fuck up. If someone wants to be offended by something, let them speak up. No one asked your opinion. I'm a big gay dude that has thick skin. No amount of harassment gets me. Mr. The other one, my brother's exactly the same. My brother's gay as well, and he does not give a fuck. He does not give a fuck. He hates people that sort of ally themselves to gay people. He absolutely despises it. He thinks, well, in his words, not mine, but his words, he doesn't need weak people like that on his side. Okay, I'm off. I have to go be an adult and buy groceries and walk the dog. Take care of yourself, Alex. Have fun with that. That happened to me. Someone used the traditional clothes from my country and people got pissed at him for it, while I'm proud that he uses it. Hannah, the funny thing is, I've met quite a few people from sort of different countries, right? Different cultures. And I am yet to meet a single person from a culture where, you know, they see someone dressing in their sort of, shall we say, traditional clothes, that don't see that as sort of a celebration. Now, I'm not talking about someone who maybe dresses and it's obvious that they're trying to take the piss, right? It's obvious that they're trying to make fun of it. I'm talking about someone dressing up, let's say someone dressing up in traditional Chinese wear, yeah? A very traditional Chinese dress. I'm yet to meet a person that is offended by that. You want to know who's offended by it? College kids. Middle class, white college kids. They're offended by it. They get very offended. It's like, whoa. You don't have traditional dresses. Shut the fuck up. You don't have traditional dresses. Shut the fuck up. No one cares. Go back to your studies. You're a moron. Like, you should not be offended. You literally, the world is an oyster for you. You're middle class. You're in college. You just shut the fuck up. No one cares. Holy crap. Why should someone be offended by that? People are so weird. Everyone wants to be offended by something. That's why. Everyone wants to be offended by something. And it's just sad that more often than not, the offense is on behalf of other people who aren't really offended by it. I genuinely saw this is real. This is real story. I genuinely saw a white guy on Twitter telling a black guy that he's wrong for not being offended. Like, this white dude, and this guy is whiter than me, and that's not easy. Oh, that's not easy. I'm pretty white. This guy sat on Twitter and started to explain to the black dude why the black dude doesn't understand why he should be offended. And I'm like, do you hear yourself? Like, man said he's not offended. I'm sure man is intelligent enough to know that he's not offended and he fully understands what the fuck is going on. You're being a racist piece of shit right now because you are offended and now you're trying to tell someone of the literal race that they should be offended to. I think, what the fuck is that about? Shut the fuck up. Holy shit. Average IQ of mankind is on a decline. It's just people that go to college, bro. As soon as they spend a few years in the real world, they get back into normality. It's just college. College makes people stupid. But I wouldn't worry about it. Like I said, takes a couple of years in the real world, and then bam, right back into it. So I think the world would be a great place if everyone adopted my philosophy on life. Because my philosophy is so simple and so elegant, and it basically allows for everyone to be happy. As long as whatever the fuck you do does not affect me personally in any way possible, you're free to do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. I won't judge you. I probably won't even fucking notice. Is you dumb? True. So what are all the people who go to college or dumb people? Gransfer, thanks for the tier 1 sub. Did really appreciate that. Welcome to the most degenerate chat on Twitch, Exhibition A. Really appreciate that, bro. Thank you. No, it's not that people who go to college are dumb. It's that people who go to college have dumb ideas about the world. And for the most part, their ideas are informed by just not understanding the real world at all. You're in college. The biggest problems you have in your life is what kind of latte am I going to get from Starbucks after fucking school? You have no problems. So you can't solve the world's problems. You haven't even fucking started solving your own. That's the issue. The problem is that college kids believe that they should be able to solve the world's problems because their professors tell them about this utopia that's going to be created in some shit, and they believe that and they run with it. And the thing is, they need a couple of years in the real world. And I told you guys the story before, right? I had a friend. I'll just repeat it because I don't know how many people have heard it. I have a friend who went to college, did the whole thing, got her degree in medicine. She works for one of the largest medical labs, pharmaceutical companies in the UK. She was 100% for massive taxes on the rich. She used to be one of those people that said, the rich needs to pay about 80% taxes. The rich doesn't deserve more than 2 homes. The rich doesn't deserve to drive around in expensive cars. You know, she believed that whole stick, that whole thing, right? Very far left. Then she started working in the real world, and she worked her way up, and now she's one of those very rich people. She's very high up in the company already. She makes a ton of money. And guess what? Surprise, surprise. Her mind is changed. You want to know how she changed her fucking mind? Because she realized that the money that she gets every month comes at the expense of a lot of work. She spends a lot of hours at the office to make that money. And now, suddenly she's starting to realize, hold on, I don't think anyone else deserves this. Considering I'm the one working for it, I don't think anyone else deserves it. So it just takes a couple of years. As soon as they grow up, most of them at least come around to realizing, hey, life isn't easy, but it's okay if you don't fucking get offended by everything. I'm on engineering. The only utopia they tell us about, energy production. I would not mind energy production to be much higher. Religious private schools are bad at that. I read a Reddit post about experiences the other day, and it's crazy how mind-controlling they are. Religious and political stuff. Any one of those two things get pushed, and it's a fucking problem. I make 6 figures and think the rich should pay more taxes. Crimson Fox, so I don't believe that the rich should pay more taxes, but because I don't believe people should pay taxes, because I don't think the government knows how to spend taxes. The government is notoriously bad at spending taxes. You know, for every dollar that they give to the poor, they waste like $12 or some shit. You know, so the government's really fucking horrible at actually helping, actually using the money for the right things. Now, I'm not, so here's my thing. Here's why I think, I don't necessarily agree that the rich should pay more taxes. Because you could take those 6 figures of yours and you could actually pay the money over to charity. Where you can actually hold the charities to account. You know, if you're giving money to, say, a children's charity, you could demand to see what they're spending your money on. And I can guarantee you, your money will most likely be spent much better at that charity than it would have been by the government. So my only problem with government, if we had an AI government, you know, that you could trust 100%, they're always going to do the right thing, I would probably be 100% on board with the government paying taxes and following the rules, because this government is incorruptible. So this government is going to use the money for exactly what it says it's going to use it for. The problem is that the government very rarely does that. All they do with our taxes is look for reasons to go to war. And say, well, I don't really want to pay for your war. You know, I don't mind if you want to put up a war yourself and, you know, pay for it yourself. Sure, go for it. But I don't think my taxes should go for our children dying overseas. You know, I don't know, call me fucking crazy, but I just think that's a stupid reason to fucking do something. You don't go to war. Simple. So yeah, I'm a bit. No, South Africa has a whole different slew of problems that they waste our money on. War is luckily not one of them. They're too busy buying expensive cars and houses for themselves to actually go to war. You see, my government actually doesn't want to go to war because that money could be spent much better buying cars, buying homes, vacation homes, and shit like that, you know. So in South Africa, that's where my tax money goes. Crimson, the problem is that no matter what you do with government, there's always going to be lobbying. Which is why I'm an anarchist, which is why I believe the government should not exist, because I don't see... I'm open to discussing the possibility of government, right? I'm open to discussing what forms of government we could have. I'm okay with that. We can absolutely discuss forms of government, and if someone can make... all I require is for someone to explain to me how do you get the government to not ultimately become corrupt? If someone could actually give me a way to ensure that the government doesn't ultimately reach the point of absolute corruption, I would be okay with government. The issue is there's no one that can make that explanation even possible, because no matter what you do, the government is the only entity in the world where they get to make their own rules. Right? So they get to make the rules that they want to follow. And if they don't want to follow a rule, they just change it. They just make it something else. So that really is my biggest problem with the government, is whether it happens fast or whether it happens slow, at some point, the government will always become corrupt. Parliament is part of government. Otanar. Parliament makes their own rules that they wish to follow. Parliament is part of government. So it's still government. It's still a government body. It still makes its own rules. It still exists in its own thing. And at the end of the day, it will always become corrupt. No matter what you do, there's always going to be a level of corruption within governments. There's not a single government in the world that is 100% effective. Not at wasting money, not at basically wasteful and horrible spending practices. Most of the governments that you look throughout the world, the UK, for example, you look at their national healthcare system, it's completely fucking bonkers. People waiting months and months to actually get to see a doctor. Now, you could say, well, at least people get medical care there, but that's not really true. Not for everyone. A lot of people wait so long that by the time they actually get to see a doctor, things are a hell of a lot worse than what it was when they should have seen a doctor in the first place. Now, also, you could make the same argument. The American system isn't much better, because there you go to the doctor and suddenly you're fucking bankrupt, right? So that's also not really a good trade-off. So no matter where you look, everything is just going to fucking shit. And there's, for me, one common denominator, and that's the government. Everywhere I look, everything is shit, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, yeah, there is one thing wrong here with all of these fucking countries, and that is the government. And I don't know how to solve that. Is we are so partisan here, so we just have to say you hate like one thing and people don't care what else you do. Crimson, I 100% agree with that. So I'm very happy to discuss politics on this stream. I'm very happy to get into political discussions. The thing that pisses me off is that people don't have the ability to say, well, I don't agree with that, and here's why. People would rather start screaming and yelling. And as soon as you do that, you need to know this right now. As soon as you start screaming and yelling in chat, I'll just ban you. There's no point. I am happy to disagree with people. I'm happy to listen to opinions, because I don't pretend to have the answers. In fact, I don't think I have any of the answers. I'm a fucking moron. Look, I'm a fat fuck sitting in my bedroom streaming video games. I should not be the authority on anything in this world. Like, no one should come to me for life advice, because I don't have it, right? I have opinions, and I am well aware of the fact that my opinions could absolutely be wrong, which is why I like sharing my opinions, because I get challenged. Someone else may come up with something better than what I thought of. The issue is no one is capable of doing that. People just want to yell and scream and fucking lose their minds over shit. And it's like, well, I don't really want to get into a shouting match with you over shit like this, because I don't find politics to be important enough. I find politics interesting, but I don't think politics is important enough to lose friendships over. And there are genuinely people. Can I ask in chat, just very, very interested to know this, how many Republicans and Democrats are in the chat right now that will not be friends with someone from the other side? Like, you will not be friends with someone from the other side. If I did that, I'd be alone. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, providing they accept the other people are entitled to disagree with them. True. My political views depends on the person I'm trolling today. I like that, Agrio. neither. Why do you have to pick a side? I agree with that, but I do want to know if there's someone here that just refuses to be friends from the other side. But Echo, there is corruption in all governments and businesses and jobs. There is corruption everywhere. So if you're going to call the government out, you've got to call other governments and business owners and officials. Okay, so I am calling other governments out. I do not need to call businesses out, because when a business is corrupt, I just don't have to support them. Power Kirby, how you doing, bro? If a business is corrupt, I just don't have to support them. I can go to a different business and support that business instead. I cannot do the same thing with government. If my government is corrupt, I cannot say, well, I'm just not paying taxes. Which, by the way, I think should be the way the world works. If there is going to be government, taxes should be optional. It should be 100% up to you. If you believe that the government is wasting your money on bullshit, you should absolutely be able to say to the government, no, I will not be paying taxes because you're wasting my fucking money. Here's why. And then you should be able to give the government a list of things that you want them to do. And if they're not going to do those things, you will not pay your fucking taxes. Because you're paying taxes for something very specific. Right? You pay taxes because you want the roads to be maintained, and you pay taxes because you want, the electricity to come to your house. So you pay taxes so that they can remove the refuse from your house. You're paying taxes for a whole bunch of things, yeah, that you really want people to do. And if the government isn't doing those basic fundamental things, you should absolutely be able to say, well, no, I'm not giving you any more of my money until you start providing the fucking services that I pay you for. But no, we can't do that. Yeah, go to the IRS tomorrow and tell the government, tell the IRS, listen here, I'm not paying taxes anymore because you guys are wasting my money. See how that works for you. Joshua, we can get into the anarchist debate. Anarchism is a very difficult thing for people to understand, because anarchy isn't what most people think anarchy is. Because at the end of the day, anarchy comes in very, very many different sizes, shapes, and forms. Someone that I love listening to, who is an anarchist, always says, the anarchist flag comes in many colors, which is very true. Because not even, you wouldn't get two anarchists to agree on what exactly an anarchist system should look like. Which is why, have you heard of the OG, the anarchist cookbook? I have not, too bored. The thing with anarchy is that it ultimately boils down to relationships. That's what anarchy is all about. It's about freedom, the freedom to associate with whomever you choose without force being applied. That's the crux of anarchy. And everything else is literally just application from there. Michael Malice likes to say, you don't get to speak for me, and everything else is just application thereof. That's his definition of anarchy. My definition of anarchy is freedom of association, and everything else is just application thereof. So I should not have to be forced to live with someone that I do not agree with. In this case, what would that look like? So let's take, for example, someone that wants a government that provides healthcare, someone that wants a government that builds roads, someone that wants a government that has